a talented player with profile that they can give a go. And he'll have salary cap dispensation because he's coming in from it'll be on the new player pool exemption. So I think it's an interesting move and one to watch.
Definitely one to keep an eye on, yeah.
I mean, we saw a Union convert who we were going to get to in a second, didn't we? Play this weekend, so it still happens. It still happens. They still come our way, which is not something we probably expect to happen so much these days. But there you go.
Yeah. Do you want me to take the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Wigan Warriors forward Liam Farrell will be sidelined for around 4 months with a torn pectoral muscle. 28-year-old England second row is to undergo surgery on the injury he sustained in the World Club Challenge against Sydney Roosters.
I'm not gonna. I'm really sad, so I'll not because I'll get upset. Hull KR winger Ben Crooks will be out of action for up to 6 weeks after fracturing a bone in his back. Rugby League sport hurts. Crooks suffered a broken vertebra during his side's 22-12 win over London Broncos, and Tom Andrews got in touch. He said another injury caused by a player jumping on top of an already grounded player and not sighted again. Are we allowed to call it a crisis yet, or do we need to be Hull or Leeds for that?
Ben Crooks has suffered some nasty injuries.
He's not a huge bloke, is he? He's not massively robust, so I think it comes with the territory, unfortunately. But yeah, this is a bad one. I don't remember seeing the incident at all because it wasn't on TV or anything like that. So this point that Tom makes about already grounded players. It was on a televised game recently. No, it wasn't. It might have been on 4020 Live last week, actually, one of our our other friend podcasts out there, who they were talking about should there be maybe a rule for like unnecessary roughness like there is in the NFL, in American football.
Right.
And do you think that we are seeing quite a lot of over exuberant defending when players are already tackled that isn't getting punished enough?
But shouldn't it be punished under the flopping rule then?
Well, it should be punished for a flop if it's late, and it should be punished for if it's an attack to the head or something like that, it should be punished too. But I think more it's the follow-on punishments.
Right, yeah.
Is it being taken seriously enough? I
don't think it is. But then I think some of the things that are being flagged up by the disciplinary, I feel like they're maybe focusing not always on the right things, because I think that there is some dangerous play that's just being allowed to be got away with.
Yeah, so the focus is more on the impact on the joints injury, potential for injury, or on the kind of the stuff with the referees running into, touching, or mouthing off at, which we do want to cut out of the game too. But sometimes you do wonder if there's a focus on something that means that there's not the full focus that should be. And this is one that
we've got to protect the players, because as much as without the referees we haven't got a game, if it's too dangerous a sport, we've not got any players to play it.
Well, exactly, yeah. So it's an area that maybe needs attention if we're starting to find players regularly getting hurt or injured for.
This is 2 players in 2 years that have fractured bones in their spinal cord, isn't it?
Well, if you go back as well, there was an injury on the back. That was quite serious for Oliver Gildart a few years ago, the year before that, and Tony Clubb missed some time as well from a tackle that wasn't even sighted at all either. And he had a problem with his back where there was like a chip in his back or something. So that's 2 examples I can think of from my club, and I'm sure everyone at their own club.
Yeah, well, Gareth Ellis, one of the reasons he hung up his boots before coming back again yesterday, obviously, because of his neck problems. Yeah,
so and these aren't crusher tackles, these ones that we're talking about now, whereas some of those incidents have been. But yeah, did you think of the Blake Austin on Joel Tompkins one, where it was inconclusive, so they couldn't really do any anything to punish it, but it looked nasty and the outcome was nasty. So I don't know. It's an area certainly for probably on-field match officials to start taking control of first. Okay, what's been going on at your Hull FC then?
Well, we have signed Ratu Nulaga on a permanent deal.
Is that the official pronunciation?
It's today's pronunciation. Or at this point, when we come to match reports, it might change.
Okay. But
anyway, we've signed him on a permanent deal after the Fijian impressed during a trial at the club. He's a serving soldier in the British Army and recently helped Saracens to the Premiership Sevens title, but has now switched Kurds. He was released from active army service to join Hull.
Nice swerve there of saying his surname again and just saying he.
I know, I didn't think I could take the pressure again so soon afterwards.
Yeah, that's a really interesting story, isn't it? That is, been kind of given a break from his time with the army to pursue this. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. He had he had a bit of a strange game, didn't he? He scored 2 tries, but they weren't due to him that he scored those tries, let's say, but you have to be there to finish them. And then he misjudged a kick, and after the result of missing the kick in the air, to completely missing it bounced clean over his head. He landed, caused himself a bit of bother, tried to play on. I think he cramped up more than anything else. And then missed the last quarter of an hour or so of the game, didn't he? But did you see promise there?
Yeah, I mean, I saw him play against St Helens, and Dad and Joshua saw him in the friendlies against Wakefield and Doncaster as well. I think he's definitely got potential. I think he's an improvement on anything else we've got there at the moment.
Well, yeah, and arguably already better than Matty Dawson-Jones, because Matty Dawson-Jones' 100% strike rate looks embarrassing now compared to
1 from 1.
Nualongo, whatever we're going to call him now, Largo. Anyway, Ratu's 200% record. Okay, yep. Michael McAlorum has signed a new 2-year deal to extend his stay with the Catalan Dragons.
Yep, good business by them.
Yep.
Cook Islands international Khan Doyle Manga has joined Newcastle on a 2-year contract. Doyle Manga arrives at Thunder from Queensland Cup outfit North Devils.
Doncaster has signed former Super League prop Jordan Cox on a deal until the end of the 2019 season. The 26-year-old made 86 appearances in Super League for Hull KR and Warrington between 2011 and 2016 before having a brief spell at Sheffield Eagles. God, I feel like he's been around a long time for 26.
Yeah.
Was he flirting with you guys a bit in the off season, maybe? And
he did some training with us.
So it's not a shock he's ended up at Doncaster then.
Yeah, I think he even played the friendly at Doncaster for us.
Interesting.
Yeah. Lee Hudson and Joe Bate have left North Wales because of family and work commitments, respectively.
Good luck to those guys. They've been around the club for a while, I think, so good luck to them. West Tigers have signed winger Robert Jennings following his release from South Sydney Rabbitohs, so Rabbitohs ease a bit of their salary cap concerns. Yep.
And Payne Haas has been fined 20,000 Australian dollars by Brisbane and banned for the first 4 games of the 2019 NRL season. Broncos chief executive Paul White revealed that the sanctions related to an incident involving the 19-year-old's family, which is understood to involve violence and complaints from members of the public. White said Haas had not committed any violent acts himself or broken the law, but that he had not cooperated with the NRL integrity unit to a level expected by the club.
So, stamping down, that's good. And finally, Leeds, St Helens and Wigan each have 8 players included in England's youth's latest squad for 2019. A 68-player, so we're not going to name them all because that's a lot of players, but well done to them all. 68-player national performance squad has been selected by England youth coach Danny Wilson and his assistants Mark Applegarth and Anthony Atherton for the 2019 season. So a good experienced group there to bring those kids along. The selection includes representatives from 13 clubs across Super League, Championship and League One. Leeds, Saints, Wigan lead the way with 8, as we've said, whilst Warrington and Castleford both have 7. Huddersfield have 6 representatives included, showing the strong work that they've started to make with their youth programme in the last few years. London Broncos and City of Hull Academy have 5, and Wakefield Trinity have 4. Then Championship sides Bradford and Widnes have 4 and 3 representatives respectively. And then finally, League One side Newcastle Thunder, they have 3 players selected as well. So well done to all of the players who've been picked in those squads, and hopefully it'll be a good test towards their development. They'll have some fixtures coming up later in the year, but I'm sure they'll play like France and Wales and stuff like that, but we just don't know when they're going to be or where yet. But good luck to all of them.
Encouraging to see them coming from such a wide spread of clubs as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And throughout the divisions.
And top to bottom as well, you know, you've got from Newcastle to London, and you've got from Widnes to Hull, so you're kind of covering all 4 corners of the British Rugby League system there, aren't you, as well? Good stuff. Right, okay, everyone, don't forget you can get your views in on the week's news as it goes along. Check out the links to the Google form for fan views. Probably save the link or something, or favourite it or something like that, and then every time there's a big news story drops,
which will probably be Tuesday, just after the show comes out.
Busy Tuesday last week, weren't it, with the Widnes stuff?
Yeah.
Not that the Tuesday story was significant by the time the Friday story came around, I think. But there you go. Definitely drop in the views, because you know we love sharing those, and it rounds out what we're talking about. You know, we wouldn't have probably talked about Luther Burrell as much if we didn't have so many good insights from you guys. So that is the news. Finished. We're going to move on now to the Super League match reviews. Super League match reviews time then, and it was Super League round 3. The average attendance for round 3 was not great, 7,104. This is the third of the 3 rounds in terms of average attendance so far this year. They've slid round by round so far, but we'll hopefully see that reverse when some of the big name clubs get some home games, or Wigan maybe fans start turning up for regular season games like they turned up for the World Club Challenge. That might be nice.
Yesterday, wasn't it?
It was poor. We'll get to that later on. But the first game that we will talk about was Thursday night's game, and it was Wakefield hosting the Catalans Dragons. It was 18-8 to the home side at half-time, and then they managed to close that game out with a couple of penalties in the second half, finishing up 22-12 winners over the Dragons. 4,639 were there. Chris Kendall was the man with the whistle. I'll take you primarily through this one, but you'll help me with the fan view, Sarah, because we had quite a few of those. But first, the stats, which suggest a close game. Catalan errors cost them here against a slightly better Wakefield side on the night, I think. Catalan made 8 breaks to 5, but only scored 2 tries to 3 from Trin. They conceded 1 more penalty and made 4 more errors, 12-8 in that count, so quite a bad loss there for Catalan on the errors. Wakey made a little bit more ground and a little bit better average gain too, and they had a 2% better team tackle success rate, so they were just a little bit better across the board really, and that error count really helped them out. I do think with Wakefield, if you can hold on to the ball against them, you've got a chance of slowing them down and tiring them out, but Catalan couldn't do that. Individually, Bill Tupu for the Trinity side made 186 metres. Reece Lynn, 9 tackles, 151 metres, 2 clean breaks. So those 2 centres are still going strong. David Fafita bullied his way over the line for a try and 130 metres. And little Kyle Wood, playing 80 minutes at dummy half, 46 tackles, 10 marker tackles, no missed tackles from
Good
Kyle
stats.
Wood. I mean, that's pretty impressive, because I don't think he's that much. He's not that massive, is he?
No.
And then on the losing Catalan side, they still had some good performers. David Mead, who unfortunately picked up an injury towards the end of the game that looked relatively serious. I'm not sure exactly what the outcome of that yet, but he was good when he was on the field for them. 1 try assist, 130 metres and 2 clean breaks. Samisoni Langi playing in the centres, where I think the Super League pod have said all along he should play. He got 2 tries, 5 tackles and 119 metres in arguably his best game for the Dragons, certainly his best game at centre. Matt Whitley, 52 tackles and 11 marker tackles, and Michael McAloran, 41 tackles. Do you want to give us the first of the fan views?
Yep. So Carson says, Johnston's try was outstanding, but Bruff's kicking game was the game winner. Giga had a shocker, and both teams have a very bad discipline. Fair play to the reactions of the Wakey doctors and fans after the Mead injury.
Tom Andrews said, wonder how many games Brough has played if you take away all his descent sin bins. 327? ? In all seriousness,